Hello again, this is Dr. Jose. Now, welcome back into our second part of our tutorial. We are going to continue from where we left off in our previous video. We drawn our model with our prescribed displacement. So what is left now is to add our material to the mesh and do our calculation. So we are going to add the properties of our sand. So if you click on the material, under material, it brings this window where you can show the global material, where you can just easily select from the global material, which is so easy be inputted within Plaxis. But in this case, I'm going to show you how you can create a new soil type. Under the set type, if you click under the drop down menu, you have different type of soil type. You have soil and interface, plates, geogrid, and anchor. But in this particular exercise, we are only going to be using the soil interface, since we are not drawing any plates, geogrid, or anchor. So remain on the soil interface. Go at the bottom here, you can click new, give option to click new, only new, you can't do any editing. So if you click new, your name under in identification, we'll name our sand as sand. We know it is sand. For our material model, if we go back to our properties, now our material model is move column and the drainage type is drain. So go back into Plaxis. We have material model left and move column. If you do the drop down menu, it gives you the choice to say linear, elastic, hardening soil. In our model is move column. We are using drain type since it's sand. But if you click on the drain type, it gives you this description here. This description here is similar to what we've discussed under the introduction to Plaxis. But if you can refer back to the slide, plus it gives you the description as well. So you just, if you're unsure, just click on the drainage type, and pop up on the side will give you description of what each drainage type represents. If you want to do drain on drain A, on drain B or C, or non-porous, it gives you what it tells you what this means. So you can either read those one or refer back to the introduction to Plaxis slides we discussed earlier on. Under color, if you click there, this comes up. This is how you want to identify your soil. It doesn't really matter. It's just the color you select is the color that you want it to look like. If I say I want it to be pink because I like pink, so I would just come here and say, okay, I want to represent my sand with this color. So if you want to change the color, you just click around the circle, any point on the circle. As it's changing it, it's showing you at the side. So I'm going to take it as pink, purple. Then the color as purple. So you see I've changed here. That is the color of my that I've selected for my sand to identify my sand. Try in the comment here to add, but that is really not necessary. Don't add any comment there. General properties, the unsaturated value. If you go back, find our unsaturated value is 17. So here it can be 17. Our saturated value, go back here, it says it's 20. And be here to 20. Now, here is an advanced option. So you get in Plaxis, we give you some, ask you to add some parameters, which you must add. The advanced, when you see advanced option anywhere around, you don't have to input anything there if you do not have them. These are advanced options in case you have additional parameters. You can add them here if you have those additional parameters, but they're advanced. You don't need to worry about any advanced parameters if you don't have them. It's just there additionally if you do, but if you don't, it's fine. So if you don't, then you can click add the next or go to the next tab, parameter. As for ions modulus, if you go, the material tells us it is 13,000. So put the 13,000. When you add that value of 13,000, Plaxis generate the alternative value. So you only need that value, you don't need this value. It's only the ions modulus that you need. As we discussed in our introduction to Plaxis, we told you what parameters are needed for each material model. These are parameters you need to make sure that you have them, that you need to input. Everything else will not be required. This is not required. Plaxis will automatically generate those values depending on the ions modulus which you provide. If you have your cohesion, you add it here. If you have friction, Our friction is 31. 31 here. Our dilutancy is 0, I believe. Yeah, it's 0. Now, if you look, scroll down, ask you velocity. That is, again, itself is automatically generated by Placid from all the values that we input at the top. The advanced option here, again, you don't have to add anything here unless you have them. So it's just advanced or like additional. If you have additional parameters, you can add them there. Next tab, or go to the flow parameters. Now, under here, identify the type of soil you have. Other model, if you click here, it gives you different type of classification of soil. If you classify your sand, if you do your sieve analysis, if you classify using the USDA or the HIPAA or the stereo use that define, is fine. But if you're not sure, just leave it as standard. But if you do your sieve analysis, you can identify here the percentage that pass through the 2 microns. The percentage that pass through the 2 micron to 15, they can put them here. If not, you can just use this triangle here to identify where your soil falls under. So we are using sand, so we are going to stick it as coarse sand. So automatically select coarse, it identify it to be around this area. Let's say that if I identify it to be medium, it moved to that area and change the value here. So you can just kind of find an estimate. And if you change using the standard, that is how it's going to classify our soil. But if I change this to USDA, you go using the Van Newton, so, or you can use approximate. So depending on whatever you're using, look at the triangle change. So there are different soil classification methods. So each of them give you different soil classification methods. If you click on each one, so we are going to stick to standard, which is very basic, and it's our coarse soil. Now, if you don't have any permeability, click default, and Placid will self-generate a default value for your permeability. But we do have a value of permeability, which was taken as 1.0 meter per day. Bear in mind, unit is meter per day. If your unit is not meter per day on Placid, that means the way you set up your units at the beginning does not match that, so you can just convert it, but units correspond to what's on material, so we're just going to put 1.0 and 1.0. You only need to put these two values. You don't need to worry about anything else. Anything else will be self-populated by Placid. You don't have change permeability, leave it as it is. It's all self-populated, so all you need is just permeability. That's it. Interface, you don't need all that, so it's all rigid. So it's all self-populate Placid. If you do manual, unless you know any interaction coefficient, but you don't need to worry about that. Initial is a case 0 determination, so you leave that as it is at 0 and you click OK. Now when I click OK, this is my standard which I've just created. Now what I can do now is to identify the sand into my model is just to drag, click on sand and drag it into the soil profile. As you drag it, you see a rectangular fire on my clip, so you just drop it, and that sand has now, I've now identified my soil profile with sand. Now you also have all the options when you have your soil model to do. If you want to do a soil test, you can click there and a different window will come up for you to do a soil test as so. But if you want to do it, it will actually odometer test or a direct share book test. You can do a test here with the soil parameters you've given, but we are not looking into that soil test, so we are going to leave that out. So we go back here, we identify our soil and click OK. Now we've done our material, we have our prescribed loading. Do not worry, we don't have a value for that yet. We will put a value when it comes to our calculation phase. Now we can do our mesh. Click on generate mesh. This is our mesh. Automatically Placid will generate a mesh for you, a coarse mesh and everything. But if you wanted to generate something specific, like very refine, you can you want to refine your mesh, you can refine it. That's absolutely fine. If I want to do, you can refine it. Down to leave as it is as coarse mesh. So click on the to close it, so we have our mesh. So this is our model. Now we've done everything. The next step is going to the calculation phase. If you click on the calculation, it's going to ask us to save this model. So click on the calculation. Do you want to save here? I will save it. settlement footing foundation. Yeah, save. Pop-up message comes up, click OK. Now it gives you, asks you to do different calculation modes. We're going to leave out the classical Terzaghi mode. So we click OK. Now it's calculation, this is our calculation phase. So we are going to talk about this in our next slide. We'll go through the calculation for our model.